crafty friends, welcome back to my channel and my craft room. I'm Kelly Wicker and I'm so happy to have you here. I'm playing with the Spellbinders December 2025 clubs today, and if you love embossed backgrounds with lots of sparkle, you're going to want to see this card come together. So for today's card project, I'm creating with the Spellbinders December 2025 embossing folder of the month called Sweet Stems. It's a beautiful embossing folder. It's absolutely the star of the show for today's card project. It has some lovely hearts and flowers in it. And I just love Spellbinders embossing folders. I love how large they are. So the beautiful sentiment on the card comes from the clear stamp and die of the month and is called Simply Said, which pairs perfectly with this design. So I'm a proud Spellbinders affiliate, and I was incredibly lucky to be able to create with both the Embossing Folder of the Month Club and the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club throughout all of 2025. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with these amazing products and share them with you here. If you're interested in any of the supplies I'm using today, I do have affiliate links to Spellbinders listed in the description box below. Using those links is a great way to support my channel at no extra cost to you, and I truly appreciate it more than I can say. And here are the two cards I created this month for clubs. This is the one I'm going to show you how I made today. I'm going to make this really sparkly background. It was really fun to do, and some ink blending. And then here's the other card that I made. I used the embossing folder of the month for the background. And then I paired this with the Pretty Birds edge dies from the Cheerful Chirps collection. Really cute. So without further ado, let's get into the card making fun, y'all. I've got my Spellbinders Platinum 6 set up on my desk and ready to go so I can start working on today's card panel. I like to get everything out and within reach first, so I'm not stopping and starting once I get going. For my cardstock, I'm using Hammermill today. It's one of my favorites, especially for ink blending. It's super smooth and just makes blending so much easier, which is exactly what I want for this project. I'm going to add a little texture to the sides of the panel using the largest die from the Spellbinders Perfect Touch Rectangles and Tag die set. I love how this die gives you that extra detail around the edges without taking away from the background that I'm going to create. I'll grab my Spellbinder scissors and trim the cardstock in half first. That gives me the perfect size to work with, and I can usually get more than one project out of a sheet, which is always a bonus. Then I'll place the largest die down at a slight angle. I like to place it at a slight angle because it helps it go through the machine smoothly. So instead of the entire edge hitting the rollers all at once, it feeds through gradually, which gives you a cleaner cut and helps prevent the die from shifting or skipping. Once everything's lined up the way I want it, I'll run it through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 using the universal plate system, and then I'll have a great card panel ready for the fun part. Once I'm done die cutting, I make sure to put the die right back onto the magnet sheet and into its envelope, because if I don't, it will absolutely disappear. Dies have legs, I'm convinced. With that taken care of, I'm going to set my machine aside and get set up to do some ink blending with Distress Oxide inks. Okay, y'all, so now it's time to do some ink blending with Distress Oxide inks, which is honestly one of my favorite parts of any card. So for today's color combination, I'm using Saltwater Taffy, Abandoned Coral, and Aged Mahogany. I don't know why, but I've really been wanting to use Saltwater Taffy lately, so this color combo kind of built itself around that. So I'm starting off with Saltwater Taffy at the top of the panel. It's such a soft, pretty pink. So I'm using my Spellbinders large blending brush, and I just love these brushes. They are really nice and fluffy, and they make blending backgrounds like this so easy and smooth. In between colors, y'all, I'm just wiping off my brush with a microfiber cloth. That little step makes a big difference and helps keep the colors clean without having to switch brushes constantly. So for the middle section, I'm moving into Abandoned Coral. This is such a beautiful warm color, and it blends so nicely into Saltwater Taffy. I love how those two colors transition into each other without harsh lines. It just looks so soft and glowy once they are blended together. And just a little tip, y'all, make sure your ink pads are really well inked before doing any ink blending. It really helps. Trust me on that. So then for the bottom of the panel, I'm going in with aged mahogany. This color is gorgeous. It adds just enough depth and contrast to ground the whole panel, and it really makes the lighter colors pop. I just love this color combination so much. Pink, coral, and that deep, rich mahogany work so well together. Distress Oxide inks are one of my all-time favorite ink formulas. I think I have them all now, maybe except for a couple. I love how they blend. I love the finish, and they just work beautifully for backgrounds like this. And I have to say, I am really excited about the new Tim Holtz Distress Oxide labels that just came out. Have you all gotten yours yet? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really ready to get those labels in and start organizing. I have labels on them right now, but they're white and black labels. But I would love to have the new labels so they can match the colors and everything. So I absolutely want to get those because anything that makes organizing my inks easier is a win in my book. So I'll just keep building up the color slowly here, blending back and forth until everything looks nice and smooth and the transition feels just right. I'm just eyeing that background panel right there. It's really pretty. The blended colors, I mean, oh wow, they just look really nice together. Anyways, and I'm sorry, my mic picked up my dog barking downstairs. I have 2 Shelties, y'all know that, so, and they're barkers. But next up here is an important step. I'm getting out my Rabbit Hole Designs anti-static powder tool. Anytime you are going to be embossing, this is the step you want to take. So I am going to lightly run this over the entire panel. Yes, the entire panel, because the entire panel is going to get heat embossed. So this really helps prevent any embossing powder from sticking where you don't want it to, especially in darker or heavily inked backgrounds like this. So it's one of those quick steps that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it can save you so much frustration later on. I'd much rather take a few seconds to prep the panel now than have to fight stray embossing powder afterward. Next up, it's time to use the Sweet Stems Embossing Folder of the month. So I'm pulling my Spellbinders Platinum 6 back out and grabbing my universal plate system. I'm just following the instructions for a 2D embossing folder. So I'm using the standard plate sandwich here. Remember, this is 2D folder, not a 3D. So I'm lining up my card panel inside the embossing folder, and for this step I really want everything nice and straight since this is going to be the main background and the star of the card. Taking a few extra seconds to get it centered and lined up is totally worth it. Quick tip, well, I don't know if this is if this is probably something y'all already know to do. I know most of us do. If you ever find that your cardstock cracks when you emboss, especially heavier cardstock, you can lightly mist it with water before running it through the machine. Just a light spritz, nothing soaked, and it really helps the fibers relax and gives you a deeper, cleaner impression. So I did that off camera there with my distress sprayer. So once everything is lined up, I'll close the folder and run it through the Platinum 6. I always love opening the folder and seeing all that gorgeous texture. It never gets old, y'all. I'm curious, do you usually mist your cardstock before embossing, or do you emboss it dry? Let me know in the comments below because I love seeing what works best for y'all. Check out that texture, it's so good. I'm honestly really glad embossing folders are popular again because there's just nothing like that instant dimension and detail they give you. Now that embossing is done, it's time to grab my Versamark ink pad. I'm just going to lightly drag it across the raised areas of the panel. I'm not pressing hard here, just letting the ink hit those high points. And it's totally okay if a little bit of Versamark gets into the lower or non-raised areas. Once I add embossing powder, it all blends together and still looks really beautiful. So there's no need to stress about being perfect with this step. Next, I'm grabbing a piece of printer paper and placing it underneath my panel here. This just helps catch any leftover embossing powder so I can pour it back into the jar and not make a total mess on my desk. So for today's embossing powder, I'm using Hero Arts Sparkle Embossing Powder. I don't think they make this one anymore, sadly. I'm pretty sure I picked it up at Joann's forever ago. I really miss Joann's, y'all. And I haven't even been able to find it online recently, so I don't know. It's one of those products I'm really glad I held on to because it gives that pretty sparkle. So if you don't have this exact powder, I know Wow Embossing Powders make some fantastic sparkle options that would work beautifully for this technique as well. So I'm sprinkling the embossing powder over the entire card panel as you saw me do there. I'm not holding back here. I really want this background to sparkle and catch the light. Once that's done, I'll tap off the excess and move on to the heat setting, y'all. Then I'm going to grab my Wagner heat gun and start the heat embossing process. I begin by heating from underneath the panel first. That way the powder stays in place and doesn't blow around before it has a chance to melt. Once the powder starts to react, I move to the top of the panel and finish heat embossing the entire background. This is honestly one of my favorite parts, y'all. You can really see the magic happen as the powder melts and turns smooth and shiny. That sparkle just comes to life, and I love how it catches the light across that embossed texture. It's so satisfying to watch, and it adds so much to the finished card. I wanted to add even more sparkle to this already sparkly background, because why not, y'all? So I wanted to show you this Hero Arts lacquer pen in action. I found it on Amazon. I'll have it linked down below. This one is the Sparkle Clear. It's such a fun way to add shine in a really controlled way. I'm going to use it on the hearts, so just a couple, so you can really see it in action. It adds that glossy, sparkly finish without being messy, and it's perfect for highlighting small areas like this. So after that, I'm going to show you a couple of other favorites, rock candy and glaze and glue, so you can see a few different ways to add sparkle and shine, depending on the look you're going for. Okay, so I'm getting out my printer paper again and placing it underneath my panel to catch any leftovers. It just makes cleanup so much easier, and I can pour anything extra right back into the container. I also pulled out these little spoons I thought I was going to use, but I ended up not using them. So now it's time to show you the rock candy clear glitter in action. So for this step, I'm using glaze and glue. This is from Spellbinders, and I'm just going to go over all the hearts with it. This gives the glitter something to stick to and keeps it right where I want it. Glaze and glue, it's a water-based resin adhesive, so it's going to dry clear. It adds a really pretty glossy finish and gives a little bit of dimension at the same time. It's great for techniques like this because you get the shine and sparkle without losing all that beautiful detail underneath. So once the adhesive is on, I'm going to sprinkle the rock candy glitter over the hearts. So just finishing that last heart here. And then I'm going to get the rock candy. And this is where I thought I was going to use a spoon. Oops, I forgot a heart. But this is where I thought I was going to use those spoons. And instead, I'm just going to pour it all over. Super fun to do that. So, and then I'm going to just tap off the excess onto the printer paper and then let everything dry. I love how this adds another layer of sparkle and texture. It really takes an already sparkly background and pushes it just a little bit further. So now it's time for the sentiment, and I'm using the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month set called Simply Said. This set has so many great sentiments in it, and for today's card, I chose the one that says, "For my forever friend." It works perfectly with this background. I'm pulling out my Misty to help with the stamping. I could have easily used an acrylic block for this, but I went ahead with the Misty because I really wanted to make sure I got a good clean impression. Having that ability to stamp more than once in the exact same spot just takes the pressure off. For the ink, I'm using Distress Oxide ink and Saltwater Taffy. I just love this color so much, which ties in so nicely with the colors in the background. When stamping, remember you don't want to press too hard. We definitely don't want the words to smush or lose their crisp detail. I'm going to stamp this a couple of times to build up the color, and that looks really good, nice and clean, and it stands out beautifully against the background. Okay, y'all, now I'm going to grab the coordinating die and cut out the sentiment. You know I love Spellbinders dies. I love that they have matching dies for the sentiments because, well, I am not a fussy cutter. I would rather have the dies. So I have my Anna Griffin Empress Mini set off to the side here, and I reach for this one all the time when I'm working with sentiments or smaller dies. It's a great little electronic machine. I really highly recommend it for your smaller dies and sentiment needs. I love that the magnetic mat, it makes lining everything up so much easier and nothing slides around on you. At least that's been my experience. So I'll get the die lined up, just working my way there, and then I'll run it through real quick, and that's it. The sentiment is all cut out and ready to go on the card, which I always feel like a little win. Okay, y'all, now it's time to assemble the card. I have a pre-done A2 side-folded card base ready to go. I actually picked these up recently on Amazon, and they've been such a time saver, y'all, especially when I just want to focus on the creative part and not cutting card bases all the time. So I've been enjoying these, and I know a lot of people get confused with the top folded note cards, so I'm trying to move towards side folded note cards to make it easier for people. So for my adhesive today, I'm using Spellbinders Tape Runner. I'll add adhesive to the back of the card panel and then adhere it directly to the card base. And honestly, y'all, I just love all that sparkle. It's so fun. And that ink blending turned out awesome. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy with it. And those colors work so well together. So to attach the sentiment, I'm grabbing some scrapbook adhesive foam squares to pop it up a bit and add some dimension. I'll place that right in the center of the card. I did notice a little bit of adhesive peeking out, so I'm just going to get my scissors to trim that off a bit. So this is where I bring in my Spellbinder scissors. They come in handy again, and I reach for these all the time. And that finishes up today's card project, y'all. I'd love to know what you think of this project, so please let me know down in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll have my Spellbinders and Amazon links listed in the description box below. Clicking on those links helps Spellbinders know I sent you their way and helps support my channel, which allows me to continue creating and sharing Spellbinders content like this. So thank you all so much for spending some creative time with me today. I truly appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. And just to show off that sparkle, here's another look at the finished card. I mean, look at this shine, y'all. I had to show it off some more. Check that out. It's so pretty. Alright, so I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much again for watching. Ciao for now.